Good afternoon, Ms Coverlizza. Thank you for taking your time to come here today. And I would like to ask you a few questions. And the first one is about your management style. What is it about? Is it more autocratic or more laissez-faire? How is it?
So first thing, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. In terms of management style, I'd say you can look at let's say, the institutional way of looking at it. There is many choices you can make. From my experience, I've been quite lucky in experiencing different management styles, and I believe management styles comes from loads of different type of influence, from your family influence, your education, where you live, and what you've been exposed to during your professional career as well. So what I notice and what I try to put in practice every day, it's not a specific style per se, because appreciating that everyone reacts to whatever is going on in a different way, but thinking of it more of a situational leadership. So in circumstances where the project allows you to have the time to be creative, it's one type of management. If the house is on fire, you need to have a different type of management, so way more directive. So I'm trying to adapt both to circumstances, but also like what the team requires in that specific moment.
Sure, thank you very much. Second question is about gorillas. You know, a few months ago, the food delivery giant decided to stop its operations in Italy and decided to focus on more profitable markets. So based on that, what do you think are going to be the next challenges in the food delivery industry in Italy?
So, being part as Everli and an actor in the e-grocery delivery, I'd like to take a step back for a second and really look at the last 2 years. So the last 2 years experienced massive growth with COVID, which accelerated the market by at least like 2-3 years. And this has been true for grocery, for food as well. And what happened obviously was growth on one side, but also challenges on the other, because there has been an influx of the euphoria created more space in the market. There's been loads of newcomers on Q-commerce, on proprietary solutions from retailers themselves. So obviously the space got more crowded. Now the real challenge going forward is the one for all the actors of building business models which are sustainable and add value for all the different actors in the chain. So the consumer behaviors have changed. That change has remained, so the need is still there. Obviously, how we approach it needs to be as sustainable as possible.
Knowing that you are an ISEC alumni, I would like to know as well, how did ESCP help you in your current career?
ESCP helped me in many different ways. I think first and foremost, the abundance of teamwork through business cases, through long nights studying, challenging each other as students as well, has helped me both being prepared for teamwork and really appreciate the value of it, as well as really trying to make the most of stakeholder management. Close to that, obviously the exposure to living in different countries, getting access to different culture as early as possible also helped me to understand that culture is something which is intrinsic in everyone, and it's the best way to kind of approach whether it is personal life or professional is really by appreciating and trying to understand, you know, all the different forces that play into an environment, whether it's the professional one, as said, and culture is a big part of that. And I think lastly, it also gave me the confidence to really know that it doesn't matter to be exposed to loads of things, and so realize that I could become a specialist in one of the different fields, in one of the different departments, for example, but there was also an opportunity to remain a generalist and kind of have a different type of careers, and both were as exciting. So the ability to see different things, the ability of not going narrow straight away, but just experimenting, I think that has been helping me loads.
Sure, that's something I really love as well about ESCP. Instead, knowing all the opportunities that the school gives us and all the activities that we are. I mean, I am a pro-master here, so I'm just starting my experience in ESCP. I would like to know, what do you think as students we should take more advantage of?
So I often think about this because the time flies and goes really fast. And when you look back, whether it's 1 year, whether it's 3 years, the time you spend at SAP, it went too fast. And you think about it, you want to go back and say, I should have done more of this and more of that. The reality is, the part I have the closest to my heart is the time I spend with the other students. Has been challenging at times, because obviously everyone is going through different transformation, different challenges, everyone comes from different backgrounds. There is also a competitive side to things, but for me it's been incredibly enriching, like the experience of challenging each other and doing and spending time in this path together. So my recommendation is make the most of the people around you, really make the most of the community. Nowadays even more, there is loads of instruments and stimulus that come from access to professional experiences, to experts, etc., etc. But for me, really kind of like the root has been the community of SAP and the students of your year or the previous years.
Sure, thank you very much. So thank you very much for all your recommendations, and thank you for taking your time again to
It's a pleasure. Thank you again for having me.